and welcome to our June 22nd, 2026 council meeting. Call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. And we'll begin with our oaths of office, welcoming our two new councillors, Councillor Leslie Bateman and Councillor Matthew Luongo. So we'll start with the swearing-in ceremony, take their oath of office. And we have Staff Sergeant Devron Dittmer here to take the oath. Who would like to go first? Okay, perfect.
So I, state your name,
I, Leslie Bateman,
do solemnly affirm and declare that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to the law the duties of the office of councillor for the town of High Level.
do solemnly affirm and declare that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to law the duties of the office of councillor for the town of High Level.
I further affirm I will uphold and comply with all the applicable laws of the province of Alberta, including the Municipal Government Act, the Protection of Privacy Act, and the Access to Information.
I further affirm that I will uphold and comply with all applicable laws of the province of Alberta, including the Municipal Government Act, Protection of Privacy Act, and the Access to Information Act.
I will not, without proper authorization, disclose or make known any personal or confidential information that comes to my knowledge by reason of my position, and understand that this obligation continues after my term of office ends.
I will not, without proper authorization, disclose or make known any personal or confidential information that comes to my knowledge by reason of my position. Understand that this obligation continues after my term of office ends.
I acknowledge that any breach of these duties may result in legal or administrative action in accordance with the provincial legislation.
I acknowledge that any breach of these duties may result in legal or administrative action in accordance with provincial legislation. Yes, for sure.
20 seconds.
Yeah.
Sign. There.
Bogart, Bill's photo right there. Thanks, Leslie.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, I state your name.
Hi, Ryan Matthew Verad Luengo.
Do solemnly affirm and declare that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute according to the law the duties of the office of councillor for the town of High Level.
Do solemnly will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability, execute according to the law the duties of the office of councillor for the town of High Level.
I further affirm that I will uphold and comply with all the applicable laws of the province of Alberta, including the Municipal Government Act, the Protection of Privacy Act, and the Access to Information Act.
I further affirm that I will uphold and comply with all applicable laws of the province of Alberta, including the Municipal Government Act, the Protection of Privacy Act, and the Access to Information Act.
I will not, without proper authorization, disclose or make known any personal or confidential information that comes to my knowledge by reason of my position, and understand that this obligation continues after my term of office ends.
I will not, without proper authorization, disclose or make known any personal or confidential information that comes to my knowledge by reason of my position, and understand that this obligation continues after my term of office ends.
I acknowledge that any breach of these duties may result in legal or administrative action in accordance with provincial legislation.
I acknowledge that any breach of these duties may result in legal or administrative action in accordance with provincial legislation.
Yeah.
As soon as you're ready to sign, if you just put your pen on the paper and then look forward to me. I'll take a picture. Yep, no problem.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
Thank you. That's my baby.
Congratulations, Councillor Luengo. All right, let's take a quick group photo in front of the bench here.
Does that look for you? Good. If we could get the two officers kind of to the sides. Yeah. Yeah.
Let Bill go first.
We'll take one after with just council.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much.
So we get the officers to step out and we'll take the council. Yeah, if you guys wanna. Nope, everybody face towards me. Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much.
I was just gonna ask that.
Yes, go.
Thank you.
I'm stuck, my family.
Thank you, guys.
All right, now that their photo shoot is complete, we will continue on with the adoption of the agenda. I do have one addition under, we'll just add it under 3.2 for the appointment of the CAO. Any other additions, council? No? Okay.
Just an amendment to the library board appointments, but I've already spoken with Director Clark about that. So.
I think, did we receive the updated letter this afternoon?
When we get to that point in the agenda, we are going to ask to postpone it until the next meeting.
Okay, sounds good.
I actually asked that we do go ahead with the appointment for the one.
Okay, sounds good. All right, no other additions. Can I have someone adopt the agenda as amended? Deputy Mayor, all in favor? Carried. All right, and moving on to 3.2. So I will make the motion that council, in the absence of the CAO and the absence of the CAO appointing this acting CAO, council is appointing Jenna Ray Clark as acting CAO effective May 28th, 2026. So I'll make that motion. All in favor? Carried. All right, moving on to the adoption of the minutes of the May 25th, 2026 meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? There's only two that I had noticed under my committee reports and also Councillor Byerly's. Ready is spelled R-E-A-D-I, but it's actually R-E-D-I. And then just a clarification on the motion, in the order of the motion. So on 20926 under 7.2, the motion does not go in order with the rest, but it was that because we had moved 13, I think 7.2 to 13.1. We moved 13.1 to 7.2, but it's after, like the order seems off. It seems like that should be beforehand somewhere. Okay, perfect. Okay, other than that, I don't think there was anything else. Anything else, council? No? Okay, can I have someone move minutes with amendments, please? Councillor Forrest, all in favor? Carried. All right, moving on to council committee reports. You all have a copy of mine. It's a long list. We had a long month since our last meeting. On June 2nd, I had a meeting with Tolko, met with plant manager Adam Blythe and one of the representatives from down south, Kylie. We talked about their 10-year, 20-year plans for the region. A lot of the discussion was including some of the challenges they're dealing with just related to tariffs and other matters involving the provincial government. So they asked for us to continue advocating for them on their behalf. You know, kind of doing what we're already doing. But yeah, overall meeting was very positive. They have implemented a number of operational improvements at the mill, so resulted in a lot of efficiencies over the past few months. So it's good to hear that they're doing well, considering the climate we're in right now, but seems to be getting better in the forest industry. And then as well on June 2nd, I had a Chamber of Commerce meeting. This is our first meeting just introducing the newly elected board. Went over some of our events for the year, talked about how the trade show had went. It was overall very successful. Planned the Business After 5 event for the following week, and then as well as continued to plan for the President's Ball, which will be happening this fall. And then June 8th, I had a meeting with some potential investors that are looking at purchasing some commercial property within High Level. Very positive meeting. It's hopefully looking forward to continuing some business with them and that they will invest into our region. And then June 10th, we had the Chamber of Commerce Business After 5. This one was hosted at Bar 1. We had a full room of people there, which was great, and a lot of planning actually started with or a lot more planning with the President's Ball for this fall. So we'll hopefully start advertising that here pretty soon. And then on June 17th, we had the Ready meeting. Councillor Byerly also attended that with myself. We had established a subcommittee for the Mackenzie Made Initiative, which is the branding for products and goods that are made within the region. So that should be rolling out here in the fall, I believe. And then on June 18th, I attended Asher's Welcome Program launch at the Northwest Health Centre. So it's a partnership between Canadian Tire and the Northwest Health Foundation. They will be providing packages to newborns and their families. And obviously, we have more than 700 births at this hospital per year, which is insane. But yeah, very exciting to see the impact that it'll have on a lot of families. So I want to thank Canadian Tire and the Northwest Health Foundation for their collaboration and leadership in this initiative. And then June 21st, I had attended the National Indigenous Peoples Day at Centennial Park. I was invited by the High Level Friendship Center to provide the land acknowledgement and opening remarks. Event was very well attended. It was nice to see everybody out there. Thanks to Tolko and the Safe Home for sponsoring the barbecue, and as well as the other organizations that were involved. But yeah, overall it was a very successful event. And then this morning I had an interview with CBC discussing the odd weather we had this weekend. Apparently High Level was one of the only regions in Alberta that did not get rain. So they were asking how it was going up here for us. I talked about our late spring we had. So far, it seems to be working out really well for the agriculture industry as well as forestry. So, yeah, nice to enjoy summer without any wildfires or smoke. But yeah, that was all I have to report. Any questions? All right, can I have someone accept my report, please? Councillor Byerly, all in favor? Carried. Moving on to the Deputy Mayor's report.
All right, so May 29th, I attended the FRIA RFP Proposal Review Committee meeting. And then June 4th through 7th, I was at the FCM conference in Edmonton. It was a very good conference. I enjoyed quite a few of the presentations that I went to. A few of which that I found very interesting was one that was called Delivering Better Water and Wastewater. The conversation was mainly focused around privatization of water and wastewater systems. It was a presentation from an EPCOR executive. And then there was another gentleman there who was speaking about water coalitions. They recently formed one, and the name of the community is escaping me right now, but they had formed one with 7 of the municipalities around them and are undertaking some pretty large-scale projects, sort of what we're looking to do with Mackenzie County ourselves. Another one was Why Domestic Food Matters, and that was a very great one especially for our region and how we're starting to see that coming out with this Mackenzie Made, like you were just talking about. And it's not just talking about the farming aspects of it, but the spin-off in ag industries and the secondary second stage production. And then there was a good one. It was a Green Municipal Fund presentation, and they were talking about funding opportunities for the massive infrastructure deficit across our country. One conversation that came afterwards with them was there is a $78,000 grant that we can apply for. It goes by size of your community, so that's how much we would qualify for. It's supposed to be used for infrastructure type projects. And then on top of that, there is a new grant that's coming out through Prairie Can in the fall. It's valued at $1 million, and it is supposed to be used for infrastructure. So if administration could keep their eyes open for that one. And then the only other thing I have to report was June 11th at a high-level library board meeting. And that's it.
Sounds like it was a fun conference.
It was an interesting perspective meeting with elected officials from across the country, because we're very different, but at the same time we all have very similar issues, but a very different way of looking at these issues. So it was good. It was nice to have it here in Alberta for a change.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty rare that happens, but it's actually interesting, talking about different elected officials from all over the country. I'd seen some on my social media, I think it was the mayor of Ottawa, talking about the infill housing in Edmonton and how they want to implement a lot of that in Ontario. So it's quite interesting to see that they don't have that already.
Well, they had a lot of really interesting tours set up that you could sign up for, and they were taking people down into Old Strathcona and sort of these old areas that they've redeveloped. And from what you could see from what people were saying, is they really enjoyed it, and it was interesting how Edmonton's been tackling some of their problems.
That's awesome. Any questions, council? All right. Councillor Forrest.
I also attended the FMC conference in Edmonton and trade show. It focused on a lot of issues for housing, infrastructure, economic development, community safety, climate resilience, and technologies. And one thing I took back from this is when you're saying we have issues with our water and stuff, there was somebody from Tuktoyaktuk there, and they were saying that their water lines and everything are all on rock, and they have a lot of issues with it freezing up and having issues with it all the time in the winter, so they were trying to get information from all across Canada. But other than that, it was a very good conference. It was hectic. We were going like hourly to different places. I wanted to go on a few of the tours, but they were booked up solid. We couldn't get on. And then on June 11th, I had a library board meeting as well. And that's it for this
Okay,
month.
thank you. Was it at the conference center downtown or, yeah, same place? Okay. Councillor Mercredi?
May 26th, I attended an MFTA board meeting, and June 11th, I attended a transportation board meeting, and they are still looking for volunteer drivers if anyone would like to volunteer.
Are you working on getting your class 3?
You don't need, it's just a regular driver's.
Oh, cool. Well, it's good to know. I think people are intimidated by that, so there you go. You can volunteer as long as you have your class 5. Any questions, council? All right, Councillor Byerly?
I had my ready board meeting on June 17th, and that's just about it. We do have our AGM for FASD coming up on the 24th. Belinda is the alternate. I'm not sure if she is to come with me or it's just one of
Well,
us.
both of you can attend. It's just only one person can vote on matters.
Okay, well, just so you know, 24th would be good for you to be there.
Just I don't think that if there's any, like if you take on a board appointment, like if you take a position, then only you would be able to do that. Yeah.
Okay,
You said that was June 24th?
yes.
Okay, any questions, council? All right, can I have someone move council committee reports for information? Councillor Byerly, all in favor? Carried. All right, moving on to 9.1, financial report. I'll turn it over to Ed and Romer.
Thank you, through your worship, through you to council. So go through the May 31st financial report. I'll touch it on, you have a big agenda, so I won't go into a lot of detail. There's a lot of information here. But I'll just touch on some of the highlights. So your total cash and investments is 16.9 million. So your operating account is 8.6 of that, and your investments are 6.5. When we see the taxes come in June, you'll see those amounts go up. From your long-term debt, you still have the debentures that are sitting at the year end. We have been making payments on them, but those payments get reflected into the balance sheet per se at the end of the year when we do the end of year catch-up. You still have, based on your 2025 financial statements, you have about 26.9 million unused debt service, or not debt capacity, not service capacity. On the year-to-date budget to actuals, overall your total revenue is at 73.2%, and that is because we collect, or most of the taxes come through in May. Your expenditures are at 32.9 or 33%, which is below the 42% basically straight line target of May 31st. So all your departments are tracking on pace or below pace at this point. There's timing involved in a lot of the expenses as well, so you'll see some of the seasonal stuff catch up in the fall, that sort of thing. We'll keep monitoring that on a regular basis. The plan is to have that come monthly to council as part of this report. So the revenue highlights, I did touch a bit on that. You got your Mackenzie County contribution already, and your franchise fees seem to be tracking on plan. Your bigger expenditures, salaries, contracted services, and the annual RCMP contract. You'll see the RCMP contract is paid in full, so that's tracking above, but that's where it'll stop, basically. You have your 2026, we've provided the capital budget that was approved. Department heads are reviewing their capital projects as we speak. I think some of them are reporting on their own. We've got capital is progressing in emergency services. We did have a $200,000 proceed on the disposal of the Freightliner, the Fort Garry tanker. So that got captured into capital revenue.
Sorry, and just a question on that. I noticed I'm just trying to find the page here. I remember it had said something about 2021.
Yes.
But I think that's actually a 2010.
Is it? Okay. So I will make that adjustment.
What page is
It is 2010?
It is 22.
Yeah, that was a typo. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So with the assessment and tax, the tax levy was raised. You'll see that your recognized tax is 7.5, but your receivables are 8.7. There's a couple of factors in that. One is you've got some prior year arrears that are being sorted through. The other part of that is your requisitions. You would have collected the requisitions as part of that. That's why the numbers don't tie exactly. You did, through the mayor, you had asked for a report on the minimum taxes. So did a calculation based on the rolls. So you had 120 residential that would have raised about 60,000 total, not the difference. And then about 92 non-residential, which would have raised about 46,000 total. Putting that one on the tax rate bylaw at the $500 makes sense. To try and generate or try and calculate the revenue on that in the actual tax rate bylaw, we'll look at how we can do that. But the challenge is because it's basically a moving target, right? And if you have your assessment is based on, or your rate is based on your assessment, and so you kind of create a circular calculation once you start moving that around. So if that makes sense, that's the best I can explain it.
No, that makes
But
sense.
we'll try and find a way to either put it in the RFD for you next year or in the bylaw if we can.
Okay. Are we getting a report like this every month, or
Pardon me?
are we getting a report like this every month?
Yes, that's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're okay with that.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
I'm trying to find the balance between the right information that you need without overwhelming you. Because this is, it can be, I could quadruple this if you wanted me to. I don't think you do. Yeah, utilities, water, sewer, garbage, you're sitting about 459,000. You'll notice your receivables are a little over 7 million. Most of that is grant funds that have yet to be received, and those are offset in your deferred revenue. The projects and initiatives, so working on this obviously is one thing that Romer and I have been working on. Department variance reporting. So we've been working on that as well, tidying that up with the directors. We have, Romer and I have gone through a bit of a finance work plan and a calendar for now until the end of the year. The goal there is for me to come here for at least one council meeting a month so that we can do that presentation.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then just kind of working through the operational details of that. So we'll get through that. We completed the tax rate bylaw. Preparing for the 2027 budget, Romer and I are going to be going through the budget software, Questica, and to make sure that we're aligned. I think, you know, the departments did a really good job on the 2026 budget, especially considering the tight timelines. When we have the opportunity to expand the timeline with the directors and then have a little, you know, probably I'd say a Q4 review with council so that it's not so crammed into one space. I think we can make a lot more, I won't say better decisions, because I do think good decisions were made, but it's just part of the process. I prefer it to be that way. We start early and get it done right. And I guess I shouldn't say that because we didn't do it wrong.
I hope not.
No, we did not. Yeah. But if you'll notice one thing I'd like to think about myself anyways, I'm a big advocate for continuous improvement. So every time I do something like this, I always find something that I could have done better. And but I also do the trade-off of, is it worth the effort, the extra effort? So you kind of have that 80-20 rule if you could. I don't chase perfection, but I do chase better.
Absolutely.
We rewrote the debt management policy. Did the operating expenditures borrowing bylaw. I think we also did the tax notice insert for the, it was for the requisitions. So other, one is on the agenda later. We had been asked to look at doing a assessment services procurement, so I've drafted that to come to July council. When I was reviewing the 2026 budget and actuals on insurance, we did increase it significantly from 2025, but I do think we need to look at it because based on what I've seen from 2023 on, I think we've seen some big spikes in there. So Romer and I are going to start looking through that policy, or not, yeah, through the insurance policy. We've got to just make sure that we've got the right coverage. We've got, we're not insuring assets we don't need to insure, that sort of thing. For the audit and compliance, you're on track. You saw the audit reports. And then the interim reporting, put as much detail as we could in there. It's one of those things I think where continuous improvement will be, you know, as we go through this cycle, we'll get a little bit better at it each time. It's just so that they call time on the ice, if you will. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
So go back into some things that Romer and I actually are going to work on these next couple of days. The LGFF capital and the reporting on that. Romer's working on getting access to the MA Connect, and we'll work through that. So we'll get those tightened up. And then some of it, like reserves and deferred grants. There's a lot of year-end entries that we do. If council wishes, we can look at starting doing those on a quarterly or a monthly basis. But sometimes it's, especially in reserve transfers, that's a floating number until you get to the year end.
Yeah, I think quarterly would be fine.
Yeah. And that's all I have.
Perfect.
In general, you're on track.
Fantastic. Any questions, council? I'm not sure if you'd be able to answer this one right away, but just under the grants on page, it's my page 61 of 259. Just under the grants there for Alberta Transportation Economic Corridor, there's a $3 million, $64,330. Do we know, what, is that a grant that's waiting for a project to happen, or?
That's one sitting in deferred revenue?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I'd have to look at it in a little bit more detail on what that project applies to, but that's just basically
That's
the,
for the MIEX.
yeah.
Oh, that's for the MIX. Oh, okay, okay, perfect.
But yeah, with this report here, it's all the grants that the auditors have
Yeah.
put in there. So some of these, as we get through the approvals, we'll be drawing those down, right? So
Okay.
our deferred revenue will change it towards the end of the year as we expand on the projects.
Perfect, thank you. There are no other questions. I'll have someone move for information. Councilor Forrest, okay. All in favor? Carried. All right, moving on to 9.2, tender award protective services patrol unit.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll pass this over to Myron.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The town high level had identified the replacement of a protective services patrol unit in 2024 and had included the unit in the 2025 capital budget. The budget figure that was included in that budget was $85,000, and it has been determined that it did not include upfitting of the unit to put it into service. Closing date for the tender was May 19th last month, at which time the town received 2 tender submissions, including from High Level Motor Products and from Stony Plain Chrysler. Both vendors were reviewed and scored with a provided scoring matrix that was included in the tender package. The scores were 95% for the Stony Plain Chrysler unit and 75% for the High Level Motor Products unit. The total purchase price for each was $59,918.48. Excluding GST for the 2026 Dodge Durango and Forester all-wheel drive from Stony Plain Chrysler, and $73,120.95, excluding GST for the 2026 Chev Tahoe four-wheel drive. As indicated, insufficient budget was included for the upfitting of the unit at the time of budget, which includes things like communication equipment, tough book computer hardware, specialized enforcement equipment, deckling, lighting, and so forth. The cost for upfitting has been quoted at approximately $40,000, which brings the total cost to bring this unit to service ready would be around $100,000. With the approved 2025 capital budget amount of $85,000 in place, an additional budget request of $15,000 will be required. Based on this information provided, administration's recommendation is that council approves the purchase of the Protective Services Patrol Unit to Stony Plain Chrysler for the tendered amount of $59,918.48, exclusive of GST, and the council approves an additional $15,000 to be drawn from general reserves to fund the upfitting of the purchased unit.
Perfect, thanks, Myron. Do we know offhand what the year of the current vehicle we have, not the 2014 Tahoe, but the Durango that's being used right now? Is it
Your worship, I believe it's a 2017.
2017?
I could be corrected.
Okay, so I guess the only issue I have with the recommendation here is we're comparing 2 very different vehicles. So I feel like it's a bit hard to say we're going to go with the lower price option when you're comparing a small or a mid-size SUV versus a full-size SUV. So I mean, I don't think I would be in favor of going to the Durango myself, because we have one already and we've had to replace the engine on it just a few years ago. And I know in the past we've had other protective services officers complain about the size of it. And in most other jurisdictions, a lot of the peace officer vehicles do have a Tahoe or expedition type size vehicle. So I would be more inclined to upgrading it and hopefully get some more life out of this one versus going back to a smaller SUV with a different style driveline. That body style or chassis itself is quite old. I think that Durango body line has been around for well over 10+ years. And I think it was a Tahoe. Those ones are relatively updated every few years. And I think it would be easier to get service done on them up here locally. So I would be more inclined to spending the extra funds and getting the vehicle that I think the Protective Services would prefer and would better utilize, especially when it comes to hauling equipment. I know the Durango's interiors are quite small. And again, then we're, I'll obviously have to look at I'm sure there'll be different prices on upfitting, but you know, the local tender did come in $10,000 under budget. I think that is something that council needs to consider before making a decision here. Any other discussion on that?
I think if we can too, like supporting a local business would be my option.
Yeah, I do know we have to put this out to tender regardless for whoever, because it's over a certain threshold. But I do agree with you. I think that would be the best case. Anyone else? Mayor?
My only question or concern was which one is better suited for the officer that's going to be using it. So I'm not sure how they feel about it. I do agree that the Durango is a little bit small. I mean, it's a fair price difference, but I mean, supporting local is probably a good idea. So yeah, just my only concern was which one would they prefer.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't disagree. I think the only thing is, I think to be fair to our local vendors, if we're from, I remember I seen the tender in the newspaper and it was for either a small SUV type like a Ford Explorer, for an example. I never seen a Durango on there, or a Chevy Tahoe. So to me, I feel like the tender might have been done a little incorrectly. Like if anything, it should have been a Durango or a Traverse to be a comparable vehicle, right? So obviously the local vendor had submitted what they were requesting, but because the price is higher, it's a different SUV, then I think that's obviously a bit of a mistake or maybe mishandling there. So anyone want to make a motion or CEO?
We do have Jason on the line, so he could speak to, Tyrell is reporting to him. So Jason, if you wanted to share anything.
Yeah, just to clarify for Mayor and Council, the vehicle specified in the tender was a mid-size SUV. It was up to, obviously, the manufacturers to submit what they wanted. The only thing that I would mention with the direction Council seems to be going with this is that there would need to be an additional allowance for upfitting beyond the 15,000 that the Deputy CEO raised with you, as the total upfit cost is around $40,000. So Council would want to consider that, obviously. That was it.
Thanks, Jason. Like I had mentioned earlier, I did see the bid package myself a couple months ago when it first came out. I said it's seen in the newspaper, seen online, and it may have said mid-size SUV, but when they reached out to the local vendors, it did say Chevy Tahoe or comparable, which was, like I said, I felt like that was a bit odd considering the size difference.
Is there not a vehicle that Ford also has in comparison to this?
I mean, there might be,
But that wasn't listed.
no, but there's no tender put in. So.
Okay.
Are we able to ask GM for a more comparable model and see what they come back with on a price on that model?
I think that would be probably fair to them.
And then we could also get more up-to-date costs on upfitting that vehicle.
Yeah.
As well.
I think one of the important things too is the Durango is an all-wheel drive, where the Tahoe is four-wheel drive. And having that four-wheel drive, especially up here, during like the emergency situations he might respond to, would be a bit better option too.
Something to consider. But yeah, I think, Councilor Riley?
I have a question for Jason. So you mentioned that the upfitting for the other vehicle will be more expensive, but basically what I'm reading here, the upfitting is cameras, computers, things like that. Wouldn't it be the same thing in one vehicle to the other?
Yeah, the overall upfit cost would be the same, but the RFD was seeking 59,000 for the vehicle, and there was an allotted 25 for upfitting, and it looks like it's going to require 40. So if we're going with a bid that's going to be 73,000, we need to have $40,000 in addition to the 73 to fully outfit the vehicle. And the only other thing I would add, when we were looking at this with CPO Brink. The only vehicles that GM offers with pursuit rated package, which is the law enforcement equipped vehicle, would be the Tahoe or a Suburban. Those would be the two options with GM. And I believe Dodge only has the one option with the Durango, and I'm not sure what Ford, whether they still offer an Explorer or not, but those are the main models that would offer that enforcement type package from factory.
Okay, thank you. I think I'd like to move this to our next council meeting just until we get further clarification, because there is a big price jump, but I do want to make sure that obviously our local parties here get at least a bit more preference on that, if at all possible, if they're able to do so. I think it would be worth reaching out just to clarify, for sure that's a fact, that they cannot get a Traverse in a pursuit unit. I'll make that motion.
We can look at that, your worship.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. All right, moving on to 9.3 hydrovac dump site operation.
Thank you, worship. The town of High Level has not had a formal provincially approved site for dumping and disposal of sludge, which is a product consisting of clean fill soil and water. In 2023, the approved capital budget included the creation of a new snow dump site at the operations facility, which was previously completed, as well as the development of a hydrovac dump facility. The town has recently completed the development of the hydrovac dump site, which includes 2 large rectangular steel buried open top tanks, disposal ramps, fencing, and signage. The application under the provincial waste management storage site notification has also been submitted. All processes must meet the provincial requirements that are incorporated into the operations plan, which include on-site support consisting of sampling, data recording, handling and processing of material, and subsequent recycling of the material. To offset the labor, equipment, and outsourcing costs, such as sample testing, a fee will need to be established. A review of other similar material acceptance in other jurisdictions is taking place to establish a program which will also include a fee for service. It is unknown at this time what staffing costs will be as it relates to providing service beyond the town's own service requirements. It's also unknown at this time if operation of the facility can be managed by existing staffing resources, or if additional staffing complements, especially seasonal, will be required. Fees for service that are being reviewed will be based on a fee per cubic meter. Therefore, tonight, to advance this, administration is looking at requesting the council directs administration to implement the operation of the hydrovac dump site and include the service to third-party haulers, and further that council directs administration to provide finalized detailed operation of the hydrovac dump site, including fees for service. And these fees for service will be brought back through the fee bylaw.
Thanks, Myron. Sorry, what was the location of the potential site? Was it at the same location as the landfill? Or sorry, not the landfill, the lagoon?
At the operations facility. No, it's at the operations facility, your worship.
Okay. So then, yeah, I guess there'd be additional costs of hauling everything over to the lagoon from there too?
That's right. But so material is withdrawn after the sludge is dropped in there. The water is decanted off, and that water can go to the lagoon to a approved facility, and the sludge would be mixed with sawdust and put in a laydown area to dry out, and that material can either be used for fill material or it could be transported to the regional landfill.
So where would the material be laid out to dry? Would it be on the Public Works yard?
Yes, it's immediately north of the hydrovac pits.
Would that not have an odor issue?
No, your worship, this is just clean fill, clean material,
okay,
like dirt,
okay.
soil and water, yeah.
Gotcha. But so you mentioned that they would need to transport this then, or the water side of it, to the lagoon. So do we have a unit that is capable of doing that? That's obviously
Yes.
contaminate.
Yeah, we do have the hydrovac. We would siphon the water
Oh,
off.
okay.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add my 2 cents on this one. So the water, from what I understand, when they were developing the site, there is a pond that this is decanting off, like a lined, separated pond. This is decanting off into, and then that will be pumped, carried away to the lagoon. And then our plan would be to take the soil to the landfill, correct?
So the water comes up the top of that sludge and it's siphoned off with the hydrovac, and it would be hauled to landfill.
Okay, so
The
there's no
sludge
pond.
that's left in the tanks would be removed with backhoe and then mixed with sawdust and dried, and then could be either utilized for clean fill, backfill, or taken to the regional landfill.
I'm sure a deal could be made for the regional landfill is always looking for top cover as well, so definitely reach out.
Councilor Riley?
I'm definitely in favor of this idea though.
Correct.
So my question for you is regarding the fees. Now, you mentioned that there would be a fee attached to this, but do you suspect that this fee will be able to cover everything, or will the taxpayers subsidize this?
No, the fees that we're looking at, I've done comparisons in Rainbow Lake and a number of other communities. So what I'll come back with is, I think would be a tiered rate for local contractors versus outside contractors. And it would definitely more than cover the expense of our staff and resources. That's what we're looking at right now, is just how much work's involved in it, in the sampling, retaining the samples, submitting samples, and things like that. So we're working out those details, but we definitely make sure that it is not subsidized.
Okay, and so regarding the material that will be brought there, in the event that someone brings something contaminated or something toxic there, what is the plan of action with that?
They're turned away. And they have to take it to the proper disposal site.
Okay, so then,
So this would be material like, an example would be when the car wash pits are cleaned out, or when contractors are excavating, similar to what town forces do, doing repairs and using a hydrovac to excavate. So anything that's got hydrocarbons would be turned away, and they would have to go to an approved site for that disposal.
okay, so does that mean that the staff that will be there are trained to identify these things? Or are there like management members there to turn people away?
They'll be trained. There's all those hydrovac trucks have sampling tubes. So those sampling tubes would be accessed, and it would be quickly determined whether the materials that were being hauled should not be put into that site.
Thank you. 2 questions, Myron. Do we have a rough idea of cost to set this up, like the 2 tanks plus the fencing and all that? Do we have a budget on that yet?
Your worship, they're all installed. That was
Oh.
part of that was part of a previous budget. Everything's in place.
Okay. Gotcha. Next question was then, I obviously am sure everyone else noticed around town that Apex is here hydrovacing a lot of area to install new gas lines, just like TELUS did last year with the fiber optic. Where is that being dumped off right now if we don't have these available? Is it just being dumped off at the lagoon, or is there a separate site?
I believe it's going to Rainbow Lake, your worship.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Councilor Riley?
Okay, so I like this idea, but then for me, I think it would be nice to see the final plan before it's approved, because we did ask some questions that are still unclear if the answers are still in the works.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know
does.
what everybody
It
else
does
says.
say in the motion to provide finalized details of operation, including fees of service.
Okay, never mind.
All right, any other discussion, council?
I'm prepared to move option 1.
Okay, Deputy Mayor, all in favor? Carried. Moving on to 9.4, water treatment and distribution system optimization, WSP engineering technical memorandum.
Thank you, Worship. Ray Yu has joined the meeting tonight. He's from WSP, and it's probably quite late for him because he's in Ontario. But I would ask, Ray's going to provide an overview of the work to date and provide some additional information for council on this initiative.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, Ray.
Thank you, everyone. I'm going to share my desktop for presentation.
Okay. Do you need to share your screen?
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah. Are you able to make it full screen?
It's good.
Still,
Yeah, we can see it, Ray.
Yeah. Are you able to make it
Okay.
full screen though?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me see. It's still. I probably share the wrong screen. Can you see the full screen?
Yep. There we go. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So I think I can make 10 minutes a high-level summary presentation. So outline of this presentation, we are going to look very quickly about the current water quality challenge at the high-level water treatment plant, and some high-level findings from previous MIAC study, why we are investigating 2 more alternative solutions, and present very briefly about technical financial analysis of all 3 alternatives, and then we will come to our recommendation. So existing high-level water treatment plant draw water from Footner Lake. This lake has a very high DOC, dissolved organic carbon content. So typically concentration of this DOC is around 40 milligram per liter. The high-level water treatment plant is a conventional water treatment plant. The overall treatment process consists of pre-oxidation by potassium permanganate, followed by alum-based coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, and multi-medium filtration. So those processes are in the prefabricated pre-treatment plant. Follow that, there is a granular activated carbon to further reduce the dissolved organic carbon. And the last step of the water treatment is the chlorine-based primary disinfection. We also noticed that plant has a ozone process, include the ozone generator, but this ozone process has never been used. The overall treatment efficiency of the water treatment plant in terms of DOC reduction is about 50%. You can see this graph. This was the sampling that we did earlier this year, kind of provide an overview of DOC and turbidity reduction throughout the treatment process.
Sorry, Ray, can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
Have you changed your main slide yet? I still see the first page.
Okay, so sorry. Yeah, sorry, I have triple screen, so I don't know which screen I'm operating.
Okay, that one changed there. We're good there.
Okay. So from this graph, at the time of sampling, the DOC in the raw water is about 45 milligram per liter. So it's above average. So after the multiple medium filtration, DOC was reduced by more than 50%. But you can see at the time of the sampling, it appears the granular active carbon was already exhausted. So there is a very minor reduction of the dissolved organic carbon in this process. The turbidity in the raw water is very low. So you can still see, although you have a very high dissolved organic matters in the water, but you still see very clear water. So overall, we can see 50% DOC remain in the granular active carbon effluent. So this is not sufficient in terms of treatment and in terms of reduce the formation of the disinfection byproduct. So we reviewed the water treatment plant water quality report over the last 4 years. So we have seen the THM, one of the disinfection byproduct, over 100 microgram per liter, which is the Canadian drinking water guideline, very frequently. Even we can see this high level of THM as the point of entry from the water treatment plant into the distribution system. Another disinfection byproduct, HAA, we can see it's occasionally over 80 microgram per liter. So the town conduct a MIAC study in past years. So just some key findings. At the same coagulant dosing level, MIAC can improve the DOC removal. So to achieve the same DOC reduction, the alum usage can be reduced by 50% if using MIAC. So basically, it's a trade-off. If you want to maintain the same level of treatment, alum can be reduced. If you want to improve the DOC removal, you keep the same alum dosage, and you have additional cost for MIAC. So overall, the conclusion from the study show that the affluent water still have some quite high remaining DOC levels, which still result in exceedance of the Health Canada disinfection byproduct guideline limit. So overall conclusion of this study, in general, MIAC not expected to significantly outperform the existing treatment process. If further performance improvement is desired, you have to keep using the same level of alum and plus additional capital and OM cost for the MIAC. And also MIAC create a new challenge in terms of the residues, namely brine management. So we don't say that's the ultimate solution for town's water treatment. The alternative number one that we studied is a simplified solution, which can provide interim solution to reduce the THM. So it's basically the aerator, as you can see in this picture. So basically take the water from the reservoir and spray the water back into the reservoir. When the water turns into the droplet, the formed THM can go off the water and go into the air. So this is the approach to reduce the level of formed THM. After the reservoir, there is an approach to convert existing chlorine into the chloramine, which is less stronger. It's a less stronger disinfectant, which can be maintained longer time in the distribution system from less disinfection byproduct. So in terms of integration of this process into the existing water treatment plant, you can see we can install the aerator in the existing potable water reservoir. And after potable water reservoir, before the water is pumped into the distribution system, the ammonia can be added into water to convert chlorine into chloramine. The benefit of this project is it's a low capital cost, low operating maintenance cost solution, relatively easy to implement. Basically, you have to install like the aerator in your existing reservoir. There might be some hatch need to be installed on the existing reservoir. And this alternative is expected to reduce the formed THM. Just note that this is a formed THM. So this approach will not reduce the remaining dissolved organic carbon in the water. So what that means is when your water pump into the distribution system, when the retention time getting to a certain stage, you still keep forming the THM and HAA in your distribution system. So we see this is more like an interim solution if you have urgency to reduce the form of the THM. But again, similar to MIAX is not, we don't see it's a long-term solution. Alternative solution two is the nanofiltration, which basically a universal barrier for the DOC and some ions. So this process, in terms of the integration into the water treatment process, we were take the water from the existing multimedia filtration and pump into the nanofiltration system. From the nanofiltration system, the effluent, the permeate, where it goes to the GAC filters. So there is an opportunity that GAC filter is no longer needed, but at this moment, we still are assuming the GAC filter will be remain as a polishing process. So the benefit of this process is very effective dissolved organic carbon removal treatment process. Based on our conversation with several vendors, they are pretty confident at this moment to reduce the DOC to 2 to 5 milligram per liter, which is much improvement from the existing process. So we anticipate after the nanofiltration process, the treated water will have the full compliance of the DBP, and there is a minimum produce formation of the DPP even in the distribution system. And this process compared to MIAX process has less residuals, basically just need to deal with the cleaning in place, wastewater and some reject from the nanofiltration system. And it's also the compact footprint compared to MIAX system. And as I said, you have some design operational flexibility. You can probably remove the GAC, which is a saving of the long-term OM cost. And you can also design the plant to treat 80% of water and have 20% of water bypass because you get so high quality permeate from the nanofiltration. So all of those details can be figured out in the further study. The limitation of this process is a higher capital cost. Compared to the aeration and chlorlamination alternative, and it's also a high OM cost in terms of the electricity cost, because the higher pressure is needed to push the water through the nanofiltration membrane. Potential folding and scaling, it's uncertainty right now, and we will talk more about this later. And you have to deal with the reject and the CIP as a waste stream. Financial analysis of all three alternatives, MIAX and nanofiltration in terms of capital costs are at the same order of magnitude. Aeration plus chlorination has much lower capital cost. Nanofiltration overall has a lower 24 life cycle cost compared to MIAX because of the less chemical and the typically nanofiltration membrane can last 5 to 10 years if operated well. And aeration and chlorination, again, it's the lowest life cycle cost. Final evaluation, we consider the technical feasibility, capital cost, life cycle cost, and we assign 70% to the technical feasibility, technical considerations of all the alternatives, then 20% for capital cost and 10%. And we haven't done the sensitivity analysis, but this is typical weight we assign for our evaluation. So the final conclusion is nanofiltration is the highest benefit to cost and the long-term solution. Aeration combined with the chlorination is the low cost, and if needed, that can be an interim mitigation measure. So as we said, our recommendation really goes to the nanofiltration as a long-term solution, but that's subject to the study of potential folding and scaling, which is it's a greater uncertainty right now. And we see two opportunities for the water treatment plant. One is the water treatment plant has existing conventional treatment process, and you do quite a lot of coagulant, which might be one of the highest operating costs every year. Is there any pretreatment optimization opportunity for optimized coagulation, where you can looking for the potential saving of the coagulant, as well as provide a better feed water to nanofiltration membrane, which can further extend the nanofiltration membrane life. And the second, which is the most important thing we recommend, is to conduct a nanofiltration pilot study to prove this process performance and determine some key design and operating parameters, and most important, to assess the folding and scaling potential at the in terms of this specific water, as we see. After the existing water treatment, you still have like around 20 milligram per liter DOC feeding to the filter, which is still quite high folding potential. And we also see high heartless bearing, strontium, and some other metals in the water, which can be folding the scale on the membrane, reduce the membrane life of the membrane. But this can be mitigated by adding some proper chemicals to anti-scalant chemicals to minimize the impact. And finally, after the pilot study, there is opportunity to refine the capital and OM costs. Yep, so that's all from me.
Thanks, Ray. Definitely a lot of information to digest. Question when it comes to the aeration side of things, just looking at this, obviously that's more of an interim, quick moving type of situation. But if we were to say move ahead, this is just all hypothetical right now, if we implemented some type of aeration system, would that down the road benefit the nanofiltration if we implemented both of them? But for the time being, until some of the studies are completed, the aeration for now, and then down the road, I guess if there wouldn't be any benefit, then I wouldn't want to do that until the studies are completed. But if they could kind of work, if they can coexist and work to benefit each other, is that possible, or am I just dreaming here?
I don't think the aeration itself will add any benefit in the long term. As long as you implement the nanofiltration, you get a very high quality treated water, and there's not enough THM. You need to get out of the water. So it's just like a temporary approach for aeration, but chlorination you can have a long-term benefit. I cannot see you can reduce your THM down to zero, right? So, and I don't know how much retention time from your point of entry from the water treatment plant distribution system to the end of the distribution system. Really depend on the travel time. But chloramination definitely provided you benefit to lower the formation potential of the DBPs.
So I guess the question I had is, if we went ahead and implemented the nanofiltration system, would this create a longer life for the filtration compared to if we didn't have the chloramination or the aeration system on there? Like, is that my concern long term, obviously cost wise, when we look at a filter, is going to be how often we have to replace these filters. Obviously, it's a huge cost, and I'm sure nanofiltration is not any cheaper than a normal filter. So I guess that's my question. If we did something else as well to help mitigate some of the stuff that's going through there, I'm assuming the aeration and chloramination would potentially help that. But can you clarify that a bit?
No. Aeration and chloramination is basically downstream of the nanofiltration. So they won't do anything to extend the life of the nanofiltration.
It's downstream?
The thing that could, it's going to be downstream of the nanofiltration. To extend the nanofiltration membrane life, we need to make sure that the existing coagulation process is optimized, so you can get the maximum reduction of the DOC before the water goes to the nanofiltration. And need to make sure that the proper antiscalant is added to inhibit the scaling of the metal onto the nanofilters.
Okay. Any questions, Deputy Mayor?
I mean, I read the technical report from start to finish, and I can say I definitely like the results that we're seeing off the nanofiltration system. And I would definitely be in agreement for us to investigate that avenue. But along with the next item that we're going to be discussing is the regional water line. So my question kind of stems with this. So if we were to go ahead and spend the $5 million to install a nanofiltration system, and then we are somehow awarded the funds we need to do the regional water line, we will have essentially installed that nanofiltration system for no reason, because we're installing this simply because our source water is so poor. So once we make that transition, if it happens, we've now spent $5 million on that. So, and not to mention the investment it's probably going to take from our community towards that regional water project. We're going to have to invest millions, I'm sure. So I don't know if I'm currently in favor of us moving forward with this in any steps until we know a little more about the regional water line.
I think just before any final decisions are made, I think that there would be a pilot study on to see if it would work to make a difference. But I think going back to, again, our next item, that could be up to 10 years away, right? Just on that.
Your worship, we did discuss this exact thing when we were looking at the MEX system, and whether the MEX system water treatment option would still be required if the town was to draw water from the North Peace River. And I would think it would be similar with the nanofiltration. It would optimize the water treatment process, because that is surface water and would need specific treatment requirements.
So it would still be useful then to have it if it was installed, or we could still use it if we had different source water.
Yes, Ray, would you be able to comment on that?
Yeah, I don't know too much about another alternative solution. Sounds like the town might be able to take the water from another water source, but it's still the surface water, the river water.
Yes, it's a river.
Yeah, so the water will be still treated by town's water treatment plant.
That's correct.
Yes, so I would say yes. So the nanofiltration will still work for that water. That might be some adjustment in terms of operation, in terms of the chemical addition into the process, but overall, I anticipate that nanofiltration will still work.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Barley?
Yes, thank you. So I would have loved to see more data in this, meaning, not like that, meaning, you mentioned the THMs and the AHAs, and you have frequently or occasionally. How often, to kind of determine how often we exceed the Health Canada limits. But then in, say, a 2-year or 5-year span, how often do we actually do that? Because saying frequently doesn't really give me much to work on to determine how urgent we need to fix this. And also, being exposed to either of these chemicals occasionally isn't necessarily harmful, but then if it's exceeded for like years, then we can say, yes, this is imminent. So more data in that regard would be great to compare it with.
So I think Alberta adopted the clean and drinking water guideline, which use the locational annual running average for the THM and HAA. So basically, the town is required to sample the water from the point of entry into this distribution system and several locations throughout the distribution system every season, every 3 months. So there will be full sets of data per year So what we can see from the report of the past 4 years, I see frankly, I would say, I don't have the data in front of me, but when I mark the exceedance of the THM throughout those reports, I can see most of the data for THMs were over 100 microgram per liter, which is Canadian drinking water guideline. And probably 20 to 30% of data of HAA exceeded the limits.
Okay, are you able to provide us with that information? Because, I mean, if it's like 101 today, it's not necessarily the worst thing. So if you could provide us with that, that would be great.
Yeah, I don't have the data in front of me, but I can provide those data later.
David Mayer?
So follow-ups to that question about, Myron was saying that it's still surface water, yes, but it's also substantially cleaner. So if we went with the nanofiltration system, started using Peace River water, would that allow us to lessen the amount of chemicals that we are using in our process at that point? So would we see cost savings by using the nanofiltration system?
Not seeing the raw water quality from the Peace River, assuming the water has much lower level of the dissolved organic carbon and color. Yeah, I'm anticipating that you will consume much less coagulant than your current level. And your operating cost and the maintenance cost of the nanofilters will be much less.
Okay. And what would, Myron, I don't know if you happen to know this question, but like with the grant we were awarded for the IMAX system, is it pretty likely that they would allow us to use this grant for the nanofiltration system as well?
Yeah, I think we would be in a good position to have that transition to this process. Definitely that's something I would be following up on right away, Counselor.
Any other questions, Council? Would anyone like to make a motion?
Motions are pretty open.
Anything you'd like to put forward?
So is there a next level of testing that we would need to undertake before we could entertain the nanofiltration any further? Because I see that you guys were asking for a year-long study.
Your Worship, if Council wants to proceed with an additional study on this, I would work with WSP to determine what that would look like, provide some more detailed information and costing, and bring that to the next meeting.
Sorry, Myron, just my next question though is there anything we need to do in the interim to deal with the situation we have, especially over the winter? Anything we need to implement or watch out for so that we don't run into that again with the THMs that we were dealing with in the was it last fall or over the winter?
Didn't they do some, I know hydrant flushing took a big chunk of that away. And I know I saw in our report there they were getting ready to do it again.
Okay.
Well, they did receive a new shipment of GAC material, so that will be changed out right away. So that will provide an improvement, Your Worship.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Councillor Barley?
So the 1 year that you're required to do another study, would everything be okay? Is that what you're saying, that there's no need for any immediate action?
It would be status quo, Counselor, with water treatment process that have been undertaken to date. Could you please repeat that, please? your worship, through to the counselor, it would be status quo with our water treatment process. We would work diligently to include that we have good water quality and put all the processes in place to ensure that in the meantime.
Deputy Mayor?
I'm prepared to make a motion for us to investigate the next study that we need to take this to the next step.
All in favor, council? Carried. Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Myron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 9.5, the regional waterline feasibility study.
Thank you, worship. I'd like to invite Vincent Lay from Associated Engineering. He's going to provide a brief overview of the status of this project.
Yeah, thanks, Myron, and thanks, Council, for having me again. Myron, did you want me to share my screen, or did you want to share yours?
You can share yours, Vincent.
You bet. I'm just working with one monitor here, so hopefully this all works out. So can everybody see the PDF here?
Yep. Are you able to make
Perfect.
it full screen?
I think
Is that as big
this
as it
is
goes?
about as best as I can do. Yeah, I can get rid of this window here just so everybody can see a little bit better. So, so yeah, thanks again for having me. As Myron said, my name is Vincent LaHaye. I'm the project manager for the regional water system feasibility study. I was up in high level earlier this winter for the February meeting, presenting some options that have been looked at. Since then, based on some conversations with Mackenzie County Council, that option analysis has changed a little bit, and that's the reason why I'm here tonight. Just, I guess, for anybody new to the project, the way that this came about, and I guess this kind of dovetails with the conversation from earlier, but Footner Lake is not a reliable long-term source of water for the town, and we were working with the community on some water licensing projects, and also working with some similar water licensing projects with Mackenzie County. We found that they were also having some long-term water supply challenges, so figured it might be a good idea for the two municipalities to get together and have a conversation. And there was an agreement, or there was agreement a couple of years ago to move forward with a study to assess the feasibility of a regional water system. So yeah, tonight, just quickly go over again the project objectives, go over the work that we've done, what's changed since the last time I was in front of council, and then answer any questions that you might have. So we've done a fair amount of work to date. We started by looking at every single water supply and treatment facility in the region, including both at the town and within the county, to look at condition and capacity for suitability and use in an ultimate regional system. That just kind of set the foundation, let us know what our existing conditions are in the region. From there, we did a water source needs review. We took a look at historical demands and projected them out over a 25-year horizon to see what the future population would be and what those water service requirements might be. And based on that, we looked at whether the Peace River would be an appropriate source for supplying the region. And it is, and based on that, we developed several options that again we went over back in February, and where we are here is just sort of at a our options review phase, which requires authorization to proceed from council. So what's changed is that Mackenzie County has identified some future raw water servicing areas in this portion of the county that they would like to pick up with a new regional water supply line. This particular alignment that's been proposed includes a double intake, one at both the south and north end of the Peace River. The north half of the system would be the one that would supply High Level. It would go north, turn west at the highway, and ultimately terminate at the town's existing water treatment plant. The south intake would flow past Lacrete, Buffalo Head Prairie, and west past Blue Hills, with an option to extend the alignment to Fort Vermilion at some point in the future. You know, this is the alignment that the county prefers from a town supply perspective. Nothing really changes with this option. You'd still be getting the same quality river water at the same flow rate, delivered to the same location. We believe that this is an alignment that now meets the needs of the region a little bit better than the one that we put forward back in February. And again, are looking to answer any questions you might have about it, or again, receive authorization to proceed.
Sorry, Vincent,
once
just on the map there, just a couple questions
Yep.
before you keep going.
No, absolutely.
So obviously that's going to cost, well, I'm assuming going to cost quite a bit more by going north and then west. What's the main reason why we wouldn't go diagonally just to High Level? Is it because of terrain or access?
So you're talking about kind of an as the crow flies
Yeah.
alignment here? Yeah, so by going north and then west, we do have some additional service areas that we could pick up. Those areas being identified by Mackenzie County. From an overall cost perspective, we need to do the analysis as part of the next step. But this overall system is less costly than the ones that were presented in February, because they do represent shorter overall lengths, and you know, the costs are correspondingly lower as a result.
So
There's a cut line. There's a cut line on that route as well. Is there not, Vincent?
There is right along here. There is. It doesn't go the whole way, but to your point, Myron, there is an existing cut line that this alignment does take advantage of.
Okay. And then for the other, I'm assuming, is there other municipalities in there, or is there like First Nations communities that would be tapping into this, or is it more so just residential?
So right now, there's no commitment from Indigenous communities to participate in the project. I'm working with ISC on a number of other projects in Treaty 8 territory, and they're aware that the county and the town are looking at this regional system. They're keen to follow, but at this time, there's no interest in being a part of the project, unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess my concern, if it's raw water, they would have to develop their own water treatment plants at the same time if they were to tap into it. When it comes to, if there's any residential areas there that are looking to get involved, is it more so for irrigation, or have they given you any idea of what they're trying to do there?
So when you're talking about this potential service area over here, Mayor?
Yeah, because there's nothing there.
Yeah, so they weren't specific, but they did mention possible industrial uses. So raw water might be sufficient for that, or there may need to be some sort of localized treatment for any industry that requires cleaner water for whatever processes they might have on site.
Okay. So I guess my issue would be, or not issue, my concern would be around availability. Like if the water, say, is low, like would that, and that there's one pipe going down that main line to the town, would that affect our access at all if there was other users on that same line?
Yeah, great question. So to be clear, there will be no mention of any specific industrial users in this study. This funding is strictly raw water for people, not for agricultural or industrial use. It's just a comment from the county that there may be development in this area and that raw water may be available to whatever industries might be interested in developing around here, but not at all to the detriment of any of the residents or municipalities as a whole. This line is water for people.
So who would hold the jurisdiction over that, though, if that was the case? I mean, if it was built obviously for people, for the town, then, say in a few years after that, someone wants to build something there, who has the authority to allow them to build or tap into it, essentially?
So that goes into the next steps, Mayor, where we go through water system governance options, and how those approvals might happen depend entirely on how a regional entity or authority might be created. So there'd certainly be ways in which connections couldn't be made without all parties being in support of that.
Okay, thank you.
So again, this is the alignment overall. Associated takes no issue with this approach. We've met with the funding agency and have confirmed that this alignment does meet the intent of a regional system and is therefore eligible for continued funding under this program, and also could be eligible for funding under or for future phases of the project.
Well, that's good news.
So again, I'm sorry, Mayor. Sorry.
I was just saying that's good news.
Yeah, yes, we wouldn't want to put anything forward that the province would be questioning once they saw the feasibility study. So it's certainly not something that we need tonight. If council is able to offer that authorization to proceed, we're happy to start as early as tomorrow on this options review, or happy to leave it with you for further discussion or further questions tonight. But once we start this operations review, we kind of move down the second half of this path where we start looking at order of magnitude cost estimates and these governance options that the town will be keenly interested in, make our recommendations, put forward an implementation plan, develop draft reports. Not shown on here is additional meetings in person with council just to review what's being put forward. And once that buy-in is there from the town, I mean, you are the owner of the grant and the ultimate decision maker with the project. Once that sign off has been given, we'll issue the final reports for yourself and the county and submit to the province for their records.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor?
I'm prepared to move option number 1. Council supports the revised alignment as provided and requests that the feasibility study proceed utilizing the approved alignment option.
Was there any other questions or discussion? Okay. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Vincent.
Excellent. Maybe just before I drop off, just to share with you a bit of a schedule here. So with that approval, we'd be able to get cost estimates to you by the end of next month, with a plan to deliver the final report to you by the beginning of October.
Perfect. It's my birthday. It's going to be a good present to receive that day.
October 2nd. That's my daughter's birthday as well.
That's funny. Perfect, thank you.
Excellent. Are there any other questions, Myron or council?
None from council.
None that I have.
Okay, well, that being the case, I'll drop off, but certainly don't hesitate to contact me if there's anything else that comes up after I'm off the call. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. You have a good night as well.
Thank you.
Bye now.
All right, moving on to 9.6 library board appointments. As mentioned earlier, since we did have one of the public members on here join council, we will have to reopen, or the library will have to reopen that, but I think the deputy mayor wanted to make a motion on that regardless to get some things moving forward.
Yes, so we put forward here was the two names for Councillor Bateman there, as well as Destiny Corsilis Herring. We would like to still have council go ahead with the approval for Destiny Herring. We are quite low right now on board members, so we would like to get Destiny able to vote on board motions and stuff.
Right, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
And we'll be back to the next meeting with another appointment. So.
Do you have someone ready to go already?
We do. The individual has been approved by the board, but we haven't received their formal request yet from them. So once we have that, then we can put it on the board package.
Perfect. All right, moving on to 9.7, addition to signing authority. Romer?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This RFD is hopefully easier than the previous ones. Short and easy. This is a recommendation to add our current acting CAO, Jenna Ray Clark, as a signing authority for the town of High Level.
Anyone like to make that motion?
Yeah, I can move option 1.
Okay, Councilor Mercady, all in favor? Carried. All right, thank you. And then 9.8, I believe administration had some additional information. We're gonna.
Through you to council, your worship, we'd like to defer this one to July 27th. We have new information on the file.
Perfect. Anyone like to make that motion to defer to July 27th? July 27th, you said? 27th, okay. Okay, Councilor Forrest? All in favor? Carried. Right, and then 9.9, land use bylaw, or amendment. Is Jane, are you still awake?
I am.
Good evening.
Good evening, Your Worship and members of council.
Thanks for staying on with us here so late. All right, we got going on that one?
Can I just take it away?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. So this is a proposed land use bylaw amendment. It's a mapping amendment. This one came up because we received a development permit application for a new porch or deck on a single detached dwelling on a property that, when we started looking into it, the property lot 1, block 6, plan 3510 KS, which is an older lot in the community, is in the high density residential district, and single detached dwellings aren't permitted or discretionary uses in this district. So we did a little bit of digging as best we could into the file, because that's kind of an unusual situation, to try and determine whether or not there had been an error that was a municipal error, maybe an administrative error in the past that had resulted in this property being inadvertently or accidentally redistricted. And there is no evidence that we can find that indicates this is the case. Rather, in looking into the file, we can go back, I guess, as far as we know that the house was constructed in 1960, and we know that the town's land use bylaw in 1967, this property was within a high density residential district. We can't find that part of that old bylaw that tells us definitively what uses were permitted and discretionary in the district, but we know that the district itself was a high-density residential district. And we know that the properties all around this property have been developed for higher density residential developments. So we believe that since at least 1967, this property has been districted for the higher density use. However, it was developed with a single detached dwelling on it. And the current landowner wants to continue to use and enjoy their property and renovate their property so that they can continue to do so. So they have applied for this amendment in order to facilitate renovations to the property that they would like to carry on. And in order for your development authority to be able to approve that development permit for the porch, we need the property to be in a district that enables this use to continue. So that's why this is coming forward now. As unfortunate as it is that this was the trigger for the amendment, we're also glad that this is the trigger for the amendment and that this isn't arising as a result of a fire or something like that on the property that resulted in a loss of the dwelling that would have created an issue for the landowner that is much more significant, right? Because if the dwelling had burnt down, if there'd have been a situation like that, we couldn't have approved a new development permit for the house to be rebuilt until this land use bylaw amendment had been approved. So it is a hassle, and I think it's probably a little bit unfortunate for the landowner, but it's being taken care of now and will protect them and help them to have insurance for the property going forward. So administration is in support of the amendment, and we are recommending that council give consideration to first reading of the amendment this evening. And then we're also looking for council to set a public hearing date as soon as we can so we can keep this moving for the landowner. You have any questions?
Deputy Mayor?
No questions. I'm prepared to move first reading of the amendment.
All in favor? And
Sorry, when do we want to set the date for the public hearing?
what's the stipulation for the public hearing and how many days do we need?
2 weeks or something, right?
2 weeks for notice. Yeah, you guys don't have a lot of meetings over the summer, so I don't know how you want to handle this.
I guess as soon as we possibly can get it out, as soon as you guys can make it happen. Because I agree, he's trying to develop his deck. We should try to get that done before summer's over.
Excellent. Oh,
I do have a quick question just in regards to on the financial portion of it, and then also including the letter that he had submitted there on waiving the fee for it. Is that included in this motion, or is that some additional information or additional motion council have to make after it's gone through the hearing?
I would recommend you consider it separately.
Okay.
We did mention that he had requested to waive the application fee, but separate than the amendment itself. Yeah. And that's why we gave you some information about the history of the zoning on the property too, because normally when these sorts of requests come forward, if it was driven by an error or it was inadvertently rezoned, then that would really justify that ask. Otherwise, it's pretty similar to the other two applications we've received over the last 12 months where a landowner has applied to amend their property to allow for a different type of use to be proposed on the lot. So we kept it separate.
Okay, so are you looking for that after the fact or after the hearing?
I wasn't looking for it because we didn't recommend that you do approve that. I don't know, can you add that if you guys want to do that as a separate item? I didn't see that in the correspondence.
It's under the financial section on the RFD, and then it's also the letters attached as well from the owner.
Okay. I see. My apologies. Yes, you're right. In the financial considerations, we noted that the applicant has requested that the application fee be waived. So yes, you should consider it after consideration of first reading. Let's do it that way and setting the public hearing date. And then it would probably be an additional motion if council wants to waive that fee.
Okay, so we'll make the decision when the time comes for second reading.
Do you want me to add it to the agenda then as a motion, and then I can give you the wording for the motion at second
Sure.
reading?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, let's do that. Okay. Okay, your next council meeting is when?
July 27th.
So is that the first time we could have the public hearing, or are you a council that we'll
That's
have
our next,
special meetings.
that's our next council meeting.
Okay. So that's probably when we would have to set the public hearing date for, unless you considered a special council meeting for it.
What are council's thoughts around that? You guys want to hang out in the middle of July for 5 minutes? Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I mean, this has obviously gone already almost a month now, so can we set, let's look at the calendar here. Could we do July 13th? Does Monday work for everybody? Then that gives us enough time as well?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Okay, public hearing date for July 13th is for a special council meeting. Thank you very much, council. I'm sure the landowner will really appreciate that.
Do you want to do 6 p.m.? Okay, we'll do 6 p.m. on that day.
Okay, excellent. Did you vote on first reading?
Yes, Deputy Mayor moved
Okay.
first reading.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Do we need to make the motion to set the special council meeting? Do we want us to do that now? To set the date? Do we have other items to list? I don't think so. I'm sure we can make the motion now to set the hearing date for July 13th at 6 p.m. The public hearing. Does anyone make that motion? Councilor Mercady? All in favor? Carried.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. All right, moving on to 11.1.
This one is also the Acting Director of Planning and Development.
All right.
Okay, so this one's a little bit more complicated only because there are so many options relating to what you could or how you can regulate cannabis retail sales and alcohol retail sales within your community. So when we talked about this last time, we provided you with some options that would enable you to further, I guess, create a larger buffer area between cannabis retail sales and some sensitive uses that had been identified. When we brought this to council the first time, I don't think that we had clearly enough identified what the existing provisions were and what the existing buffer area was within your land use bylaw today. And I think maybe the easiest way to look at this is perhaps to go through a couple of those maps that are included in the attachment, just so that you can see what the different options would enable you to do. Can I share my screen? Is that all right? Sometimes it's easier with pictures.
You should be able to.
Okay. Then I'm gonna do that. Just so that we can sort of look at the areas that are where the buffers already are today for cannabis retail sales. So if there were no change at all to your land use bylaw, the areas that are yellow are the areas where a new cannabis retail sales establishment could not be developed because of the way that the existing regulations are written to prohibit that type of use to be located within proximity to those sensitive uses that we talked about, so schools and parks and those sorts of things.
Sorry,
You'll
so
notice that there
that's
is-
existing?
This is today, like this is what you have in your land use bylaw right now. So you know where the schools are.
Yeah.
And you can see where your downtown area is, and then anywhere that would also be buffered against because of the zoning of the property is also yellow. So anything within those yellow
Oh, so
areas
it's just
could not,
schools and parks, not daycares.
it's not daycares.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I should confirm that. I think it does include daycares too. So we had the purple dots are the daycares, the pink dots are the schools. So it was showing you where they are right now too. And then we've identified where the existing liquor retail sales, like the liquor stores are and the cannabis retail sales stores are. And you'll notice looking at that there is one cannabis retail sales store that's within one of those existing buffer areas. I don't know how that came to be. That approval was issued prior to us working with the town, so we don't know how that happened. We're not sure if it was an approval that came into effect prior to the existing regulations in your land use bylaw being adopted, or if it was missed. I don't know.
Sorry,
But
what is
everything-
the, like, I'm just looking at on the north,
It's right here. Can you see that?
which one, sorry? Are you showing your mouse?
Yeah, you can't see it, can you? I
Oh, that little
apologize.
dot, okay. Okay, so, but what is, it's 420 somewhere, I believe, but what are they surrounding? Like,
Oh, hold on. Let me.
Would that not be Centennial?
like, so they're within 100 meters of the park? Is that what they're encroaching on?
Yeah, so the existing provisions right now, the current land use bylaw restricts cannabis retail sales is only allowed in the C1 district. That's the only district that it can be developed within in terms of your commercial districts. And it must be 100 meters away from any community use, so CU zoned property or park zoned property. So regardless of what is developed on those properties, if the property is within the CU district or within the park district, then we had to apply a buffer to every single property that's within that zoning.
You guys are looking at the gray dot. The gray dot's not cannabis.
I think what it's encroaching on slightly is the community, or sorry, Centennial Park, like just barely.
Yeah, barely.
That's what I'm going to assume is the issue there.
Which one?
I'm looking at, so the dot you had just circled on your diagram there. We're just talking about here what it is encroaching on for one of these, but it is Centennial Park that it's, but I guess that buffer zone, like I know I can see that they overlap, but they don't necessarily, like I guess I'm a little confused by the diagram here.
Anything yellow, any property
Yeah.
within the yellow.
Yeah,
Is-
but
is
like they
within the
essentially
buffer.
overlap each other because of their boundary, right? But
That
I
is
don't
correct,
think
yeah.
that doesn't say that they can't be there, correct?
They cannot be within any of the yellow area.
But that's the thing is it's not in the yellow area, but
There's one that is within the yellow buffer area.
yeah, right at the top there, but like the only thing that's there is the provincial building, so there's no park there.
There's a property that is within one of those two districts.
I think it used to be the old, like, educational building, the adult education. But that's
Oh,
what it's
okay.
towards. It's now.
So is it because that is there like a provincial building? Is that considered a public area?
It's because of the zoning of the property.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the way your existing regulations, and that's why so much of the town has the buffer area, because it relates to that buffer setback is related to zoning rather than uses on property. So it's quite prohibitive right now.
Okay.
And that's what I just wanted council to see that, because if we add additional regulations on top of this, we have this already, and then we're expanding even further.
Yeah.
So what we were suggesting maybe for council, because I think this might already do what you wanted, which was to create a buffer between cannabis retail sales, liquor retail sales, and then schools and park areas. I think it's already doing that, is to add liquor retail sales, because right now this buffer only applies to cannabis retail sales.
Yeah, I think the other concern I think that was brought up by Councillor Mercady when this was first came about was the daycares, right? Because obviously we have the cannabis store that just opened up across the road from the daycare. But again, we run into the same issue. If there can't be a double standard. We have to have, you know, the same for both. So if that cannabis store was to, or sorry, the daycare was to close down and the cannabis store was there, well, then a daycare can never go back there again until they had closed or something changed. So I'm not sure how council wants to go about that.
I feel like the current bylaw we have is probably sufficient, but I agree with what Jane says to add the liquor stores to it. But I feel like this is kind of far from what our conversation was in regards to this, because we were more so concerned, and I hear this a lot from the general public in our community as well, is that obviously how many liquor stores and cannabis stores do we need in such a small community? But unfortunately, that's not something that we can regulate. So, I mean, I appreciate this bit of information, and I do agree that I think the 100 meters covers it. And I don't think we need to change this, because it's not going to get the effect that we were discussing.
Yeah, I agree. Because just to confirm, Jane, like there is nothing we can do to limit the types of establishments that come into high level, right? Like we can't put a limit on cannabis stores. We can't put a limit on groceries, or not grocery stores, sorry, a limit on liquor stores. Is that correct?
We should not. Yeah, that sort of a regulation could be subject to court challenge. We have to be really careful about how you regulate different types of uses. So we can do things like establish buffers, right? For controversial uses. Sorry, I was going to give you an example, but it was probably not an appropriate example. I tell you about the city of Halifax had a controversial use a few years back. They didn't want to have any more exotic dancing establishments, and so they set up buffers within their land use bylaw. So the only place that you could develop one was in the center of the harbor, and that's how they were able to regulate that use. So this is the tool that municipalities utilize in order to address this sort of thing. You have to think about what sites it would be appropriate on in your community and what sites it would not be appropriate on in your community. We don't have the ability to limit the number. That gets us into trouble.
Yeah, I guess the biggest concern is just, obviously, we know that there is an addiction crisis up here and there's issues there. So it just, obviously I think worries a lot of the public that, when there's just more access to it. And also, for the businesses that are there already that do provide this, it's, creates a bit of an uncertain future for them as well, considering that they're, just another one added and that's taking, again, I said this before, competition is healthy, but if you oversaturate the market, that might not be good for the overall. Councilor Mercady?
So just to confirm, we're going from our existing to adding liquor retailers, so that would be the second diagram, the 100-meter buffer, but with liquor stores added.
So yeah, it's attachment 1 is your existing. So we would just continue on with the existing, except right now that only applies to cannabis. So if we made an amendment to the land use bylaw that also applied to liquor retail sales, then neither cannabis retail sales nor liquor retail sales would be allowed within the yellow areas.
So what's the difference between the first diagram and the second diagram? Because they both say 100-meter buffer.
They're adding liquor stores.
So that's what we would be going off of.
What do you mean, sorry?
Because here it says existing 100-meter buffer. So that's what we're going off right now. So this one we're adding liquor stores. So then this would be our new one.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, you are correct.
Okay,
Yeah, you are
perfect.
correct.
Thank
So
you.
that's the additional areas, yeah.
Perfect. Any other discussion, council? All right, seeing none, would someone like to make a motion?
That we're moving option 1. And then further that council direct town's planning and development department to initiate public engagement outlined in attachment 6 to seek input from existing retail. So yeah, option 1.
Okay, all right. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you, council.
Thank you. Right, moving on to correspondence for action 13.1. This is exciting. Until everyone is complaining on Facebook about how confusing it is with all the new bins they have outside. Did Myron leave the meeting?
Unfortunately, Myron did have to step away, but if
Okay.
you have any questions, we can take them and get back to you guys.
Okay. Any questions on this, council?
What's their reasoning for not allowing us to use the already purchased brand new bins that we have?
I can get back to you with that.
Are they the larger ones?
I'm not,
Were they the
yeah,
same size? Okay.
fortunately, I will have to get back to you on that as well.
It's interesting that we can't just use the green ones and then.
I think it's because if you break it down, like, I know in the city of Edmonton, they have like two different kinds of recycling, like your papers and then your bottles, and that gets broken into the colors more, so that would be my idea behind it, is that it's probably because what we're recycling is not the right color of bin we already have.
Do we have any idea on what is included in the recycling? Like, is it bottles, is it plastics, paper, cardboard?
I'm sorry, I do not have any more information, but Myron did say he will answer any questions, so.
I guess my only concern with it is, if it's just recycling bottles, hopefully it's not. I mean, recycling, but because then we're essentially taking away the business that's already established here. But if it's, what's that?
And what I gathered from this is that we're going back to the old method that High Level tried before, which was shipping our recycling away.
Yeah.
Right, so that's trading one for another, you're saving the environment, but you're killing it at the same time, so.
From just the background information that I looked into, I do believe this is for like cardboards and paper and plastics and like that, so that is good, because I know a lot of that ends up in the landfill. One thing that is unfortunate about this program is it's only for residential, and I know that commercially it would be a lot more beneficial considering how much cardboard waste goes to the landfill. Is it the feds? I thought it was provincial. My concern is once they realize how costly it is to ship here, then they're gonna dump the program or dump it on us, so hopefully that's not the case. I guess if you could get Myron to find out what the cost is on the new carts, assuming we'll have to get one for every resident or residential property in town. Are there any other questions, council? Okay, would someone like to make a motion on that? What's that? Move for information? Yeah, it was for action, so I wasn't sure if there was a separate motion behind it.
I'll make the motion to accept for information.
All right, all in favor? Carried. All right, moving on to 14.1, letter from seniors.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The seniors are just looking for approval to donate 2 benches to the town. The benches will be installed at the airport.
And it's just to install them, right? Like we're just allowing them to put them there?
Yes.
Okay.
And they will match the benches that have been put around the community by the seniors, so.
Perfect. Anyone like to make that motion or any questions, discussion behind it? Councillor Byerly? What's your motion?
To accept that, yes, we want to have.
To approve, okay.
Approve, yes.
All right, all in favor? Carried. All right, and 14.2. Courageous Companion Service Dog Program. think they're looking for a sponsorship. Is there, just want to confirm the authenticity behind this and that is actually real before we. Was there a deadline on this? Do we know if it is in any way affects the town of High Level?
We can reach out for more information.
Okay.
And
If it doesn't affect anything up here, I don't necessarily know if we should be sponsoring anything like that, so. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Right. Okay, would someone like to move for information or request for more information? Councilor Mercady, all in favor? Carried. Right, 15.1, monthly department reports. We don't need to go through these individually, I don't think, but if council has any questions, if you have anything else to add.
sorry, you just missed 14.3, a meeting request with Minister Williams.
Oh, do I have a wrong?
That was in
Do I
the
have the older
updated.
package? Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
it was in the
sorry,
updated
okay.
package.
Sorry, 14.3.
And it was for the municipality's fall conference, or convention, sorry.
And that's just to request a meeting with them? Do we have to provide topics right away?
Yeah, they are requesting that you provide topics.
Okay, what was the deadline for that?
There's no deadline.
Probably before July 27th, I'm assuming.
No. We do not have a deadline, but we could find it out and bring it to the special.
Was it?
We can bring it to the special council, well, find out the date and bring it to the special council meeting.
Okay, yeah, just so we can get, and we'll brainstorm on some questions we have for Minister Williams. All right, so move that for now, please. Councillor Luongo, all in favor? Carried. All right, sorry, now moving on to 15.1, department reports. Do you have anything to add that's not in the report at all? No? Okay. I did have some operations questions, but now Myron's gone, so. I did want to say, though, that I went for the walk the other night, and I feel like we are very lucky to have the staff that we do that are very prideful of the community. It looks great out there. The streets are nice and clean. They're swept. Still bumpy, but, you know, we're working on that. And, you know, the grass has been cut very well, so, I mean, I think it's, you know, going outside in the summertime, it, you know, really shows us what a special place we live in. So thanks to operations for that. But I do have a couple questions. If we can ask Myron this, do we have a plan for line painting?
That's my question. At least the crosswalks.
Yes, I can follow up with Myron and get back to you guys.
Perfect. And there was one other one. Oh, the other one, I don't know if this would be under operations or if it would be under protective services, but the seasonal storage shelters. I know we do have a bylaw around those that they're supposed to be taken down. I can't remember if it's April 31st or April 1st, but there are still tons up around town. And I want to make sure that that does not continue to be a thing going forward. Obviously, people are going to get comfortable and leave them up, but I do think that needs to be enforced.
So I actually had that same thought the other day, and I went looking through our bylaw. And our bylaw kind of is pretty open-ended in the fact that they can be left until a neighbor complains.
Interesting.
So I think that maybe we may need to relook at that bylaw and set it to be more strict rather than open-ended as it is.
Yeah, and I can pass this over to Jason and he can share a little bit. His hand is up. There you go.
Oh, go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, so did have a discussion with CPO Brink around this, and I did do a patrol around the community and came up with a list of 16 properties that currently have those portable garage set up in the yard. So he is going to work with planning on looking into enforcing that bylaw. So he should be he should be on that one.
Perfect, thank you. I consider everyone in town my neighbors, so I'm officially putting a complaint in. All right, any other questions, council? None? Okay, can I have someone remove department reports, please? Councillor Byerly, all in favor? Carried. All right, 15.2, Northern Alberta elected leaders meeting minutes for May 1st. Any questions on that at all? Seeing none, can I have someone move for information, please? Deputy Mayor, all in favor? Carried. All right. And then I think there was one more for a letter from Minister Williams as well. Is that 15.3?
16.2.
Oh, 16.2. We need a motion?
It's for the municipal affairs grant allocation letter.
Okay, that'll be under 16.2?
Two.
What's 16.1?
16.1 is the Northern Alberta election leaders.
Oh, is it different on here?
Yes, it is changed in the new.
Oh, okay, sorry. So we'll change. So, sorry, Deputy Mayor, did you want to move 16.1, not 15.2? Okay. My package is from last week, so. All right. And then, okay, so moving on to 16.2, that was a letter from Minister Williams. What was the motion you're looking for this, on this? Just for information or, yeah, okay. Good news. It's a lot of money. Is this already allocated to something? Do we know?
We do have LGFF allocated to capital, but I'd have to look, but I don't think the 2026 is allocated fully yet.
Okay, but we can just have that in the account for now, right? We don't have, okay, perfect.
Yeah, we can factor that in. We won't get the money yet, but we can factor it in when we do our applications.
And that's the, sorry, the LGFF, that was what that's allocated for the pool, correct? Yeah, okay. All right. Sorry, who moved that for information? Or do you have a question on that? Yeah, go
What's
ahead.
the money allocated for the 100 Avenue lights situation that we have? Step, oh, okay.
Yeah, Myron's not here to answer that question, but to get an update on that. But I think he does have or he was working with, who was he working with on that, on the 100th Avenue project? Is it, what's the company called? Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
It-
Smell a lot.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right. Sorry, did you move that for information?
Yeah, sure, I will.
Yeah, okay. All in favor? Carried. All right. Seeing no one in the gallery, I assume question period will be moved. So we will recess to in camera. Does anyone need a break? Yeah, all right, we'll take a 5-minute break. Thanks to those who attended the public portion online. Enjoy your evening.